Welcome back to the Crypto Trends podcast, where we cover all things cryptocurrency, blockchain, Web 3.0, and AI. I'm Robert Croak, and I'm joined by my co-host, Armando Pantoja. Both of us and our amazing team are excited to bring you the best information, guidance, and strategies each and every Wednesday. So follow along and always remember to take notes and take action. In today's action-packed episode, we're going to be covering all the most pressing topics in the market right now. Whether it's Bitcoin entering price discovery, Ethereum breaking 4,000, meme plus AI coins booming, and XRP finally waking up, this episode will have it all. And if all that wasn't enough for you, we'll end the episode by answering questions asked by you, our amazing audience. Before diving in, I want each and every one of you listening to go to the comments section of this podcast right now and leave a question or a comment and let us know what's most pressing on your mind for cryptocurrency right now. So let's get into it. So our talking point today is Bitcoin and price discovery. Armando, what do you make of price entering back into price discovery? Let's talk the listeners through it.
All right, so I'm going to admit it here. For 2 years, I thought Bitcoin would be at 40 to 50,000 pre-halving. And you always said it would be at 75. Now, I'll admit when I'm wrong. I'm right a lot, but sometimes I'm wrong, right? And I'm wrong in this. I was wrong in this case. Robert predicted Bitcoin to be at 75,000, and I'm pretty sure that's where we're going to end up before the halving. So I want to say congratulations for your pick, right?
Yes, I am not in the crystal ball business. I just spew what I believe based on my research, based what I take away from you and Max and everybody involved in the team. And so, yeah, that was the vibe. That was the feeling. And you and I have made some pretty lofty bets this year since getting together and working together. And so I'm pretty excited that I was on the right end of this.
Yeah, I mean, both of our predictions were technically right. Yours was a lot more aggressive. Mine was conservative. But everybody wins. It's a win-win situation. As for Bitcoin, it continues to show great strength. And I used the word strength because that's what we see. We see strength on the blockchain. We see strength in the buys, institutional buys. We see a lot of strength going forward after the halving. This is always a great reminder for me that Bitcoin is here to stay. It has strength and it's not going anywhere. And there are two ways that we know this: institutional buying and massive accumulation. So Bitcoin is transparent. We can see everything that's happening on the blockchain. We can see where coins go, who they're going to, who's accumulating and who's selling. So what we're noticing with the on-chain analysis is that bigger wallets are accumulating Bitcoin over time. Smaller wallets are not even being created. So this gives us a signal, right? Is that institutions, even at this point in the game, are still accumulating. This indicates to us that the rich, the elite, and the banks are still accumulating, and retail hasn't even got in yet. Robert, I'm interested now. You know, I said 40 to 50, you said 75. I want our listeners to know what made you come up with this thesis of Bitcoin reaching 75,000 pre-halving.
So for me, it's really simple. With all the ETFs being approved, it really was just an instant sign that things were going to be different this time. You know, I hate to say it, but in this instance, you could really look at throwing the technicals out the window because we're in such a hype cycle and we've never before seen this kind of adoption from institutions, big banks, governments, and the largest companies in the world. So that was what changed my mind, that we weren't going to see the same cycles we've seen in the past. So for number one, institutional buying really ramped up because of the ETFs, and they had to seed their ETFs before offering to the public. So that is a big thing. Seeding is so important for people to understand, and that is them pre-buying before the launch and before taking in all of this capital for these ETFs. So we've never seen Bitcoin price have this much upwards pressure before, and that is one of the key takeaways. Number two for me was the SEC greenlighting crypto prior to the bull run beginning. So we had a longer window prior to the bull run and the important halving coming up for this to happen and to really get investors that otherwise were on the sidelines off of the sidelines and investing into these ETFs. So those were the two most important things for me. And I think people need to really think that things will continue happening the same way that they always have. But for me, it's so important to account for the factors that are present that could make something act differently. Like I said, the hype cycle, the ETFs, and a lot of this new money entering the markets. So remember, there's a saying in crypto that goes, the trend is your friend until the end. And I love this one because it usually refers to technical trends, and it definitely applies here. While I didn't know exactly how it would deviate, making new all-time highs pre-halving seemed very probable to me for all the reasons I've mentioned. And of course, I'm glad to be on the right side of yet another prediction, so each and every one of you that follows along and listens can just keep printing that money and have a great time in this bull market.
And Robert, I love how you approach investing, and that's a great explanation. My thesis was based on what Bitcoin did in the past. It never before has reached the previous high before the halving.
Yep.
So I thought that it would continue that same way. But the good news is that I was wrong, but I was wrong in a good way. For me, it was a win-win situation, right? Is that if Bitcoin goes left, right, up, and down, it doesn't matter to me. When I see those drops, I'm going to buy. And if it broke all-time highs, like you said, I would still win. So in that case, it's a win-win situation. So either way, I'm going to be winning. And that's exactly what we want to do on the Crypto Trends podcast. We want to put all of you in win-win situations.
That is exactly why we warned of a correction when the Bitcoin ETF was approved initially. We said, sure, it can go higher, but the charts right now say 38,000 before we move to higher prices. And sure enough, prices went back to 38,000, and maybe for the last time ever, which more than likely was the last great buying opportunity in history for Bitcoin.
There was a lot weighing on Bitcoin during that time. It was a buy on the rumors, sell on the news event. We had technical analysis that took us back to 38,000. So that was a great buy for anybody that got in at those levels. So this begs the next question. What's next for Bitcoin, Robert?
Well, let's put ourselves out there one more time on the proverbial edge. And I really look at it this way. Now that we're in price discovery, I think it will be relatively smooth sailing from here. I'm not saying that there won't be more volatility, but I am looking at higher price targets from here on out. We might see a pushback a little bit, and that will probably happen as we run towards 80,000 as the next big price jump. But in doing so, this will create space from its previous all-time high at $69,000. And remember, historically, when Bitcoin breaks all-time highs, it surges up. And when it finally has a correction in the bull market, it retests its previous all-time high as newfound support. Very, very important for everyone to listen and understand that and not have a knee-jerk reaction when it does this, because it likely will. Remember, markets don't always just go up and to the right. They correct, they get overbought, they get oversold. And that is why we're always ready for our entry points and dollar cost averaging, so we know what to do when these things happen.
That's a great point about retesting previous highs. Now, in Bitcoin's history, what we've noticed is that once a previous high is reached, that previous high is tested greatly. And after it passes that previous high, what we tend to see is a strong support level. Yep. Now, what that tells us in layman's terms is that this is probably the lowest you will probably get Bitcoin for the next 3 or 4 years. Because the highs of the previous cycle become the lows of the next cycle.
Yeah, I mean, I had a gentleman today that's been along on this ride for me for a couple of years now, and he keeps doing it backwards. As soon as there's a small correction, he sells everything, takes a small profit, and then goes, oh shit, and then it goes right back up, and then he buys in higher. And they just don't understand the age-old adage that you don't want to buy high, sell low, you want to do the opposite. And that's where, when in doubt, always zoom out and have a thesis going into it, because too many people try to figure it out on their own and time the market. And I don't know about you, but nobody can properly time the market.
Yeah, and I've been getting a lot of DMs. I'm sure you have over the last couple of weeks as Bitcoin has exploded past the previous high. A lot of people say, am I too late? Is it over? No, because once again, the previous highs become support for the next level. I want each and every one of you to go into those comments, tell us where you think Bitcoin will be trading on the next episode of Crypto Trends Podcast.
Yes, yes, yes. And anyone that wants to take bets with me, I will pull out the crystal ball. We can do a dinner bet, whatever you want to do. But all seriousness, please leave a 5-star review as well. And if you're gaining great value from this podcast episode, tell a friend, follow along, spread the word, because we're looking to break that top 10 this week, and we can do it with all of your help. All right, so before we continue on, let's hear a word from our sponsor. I want to take a moment and introduce our title sponsor, PRE. So whether you're a real estate professional looking to modernize your practice or a buyer or seller eager to navigate the market with the latest technology, PRE offers an unparalleled platform that simplifies, secures, and revolutionizes real estate transactions. Get ahead of the curve and explore how PRE can transform your real estate experience today. For more information, go to PRE.com. Okay, Armando, let's take everyone into talking point number 2, and I know you're going to love this one. The altcoin market is heating up. I think this is a great opportunity to talk about why the altcoin market is heating up. So Armando, tell us what you're seeing on the altcoin front and walk our listeners through, because there's so many great call outs we've had in the recent weeks. And I'm so excited moving forward into this bull market of how we're just going to print money in the altcoin market.
So first of all, I want to congratulate everyone who listened over the first few episodes at all the great picks that we called out. Congratulations. If you joined us on those plays, you probably are up a lot of money. Whether it's gaming, AI, meme coins, or whatever, almost all of our coins are way up since we called them out.
Yeah, it's crazy. I look at our call out sheet. Thank you, Max, for putting it together with our returns so far since we started the podcast. And it's crazy to see so many of our call outs up 250, 350, some of them over 500% just since we started the call out. And many of these coins we've held for a year, 2, 3 years. And it's great to see that there's still so much upward movement in this bull market.
Yeah, and that's still a huge subject on the horizon. And that's AI coins, artificial intelligence coins. Ever since episode 1, and even before that, me and Robert, even on our personal platforms, have emphasized that the AI narrative will be huge in cryptocurrency on this next bull cycle. And it could change the trajectory of blockchain forever. There are many reasons for this. AI and crypto are two of the technologies that are transforming our entire world. And to make it even simpler to understand, it's like yin and yang. Crypto and AI need each other. AI needs access to resources that are efficient and easy to use, and crypto needs intelligence. The coming narrative of these two together is one of the most obvious plays I've ever seen since I've been investing.
Yeah, so true, Armando. And look what it did for the stock market. I mean, if you think about it, after 2022, everyone said the stock market was dead. And what most people missed, and not you and I, obviously, even though I got a lot of hate mail back then, was that there was about to be a major breakthrough in mainstream adoption of AI technology. And that's exactly what happened. You think back to 2022. I had family members, friends, my audience everywhere from me and you all saying, why are you talking about AI? Why are you talking about crypto? These are all bubbles. They're not going to come to anything. And here we are with some of the best returns from our call outs of any educational people that are on the internet in crypto and investing and just understanding the macro parts of the markets. So it's so important for everyone to look where they get their information and find the people that really do the work and understand these markets. If you think about 2023 and 2024 so far have been all about the companies that adopt AI and revolve around it. You look at the Magnificent Seven has quite literally carried the stock market throughout all of 2023 and now into 2024, all because they dove headfirst into leveraging AI. And it's so critical because there were so many naysayers, not understanding, the market, not understanding the technicals and saying it was a bad idea. I had literal hate mail talking about crypto in 2022 and 2023 where people are like, stop talking about AI. That's all hocus pocus stuff and this and that. And then you look at some of these call outs like Fetch AI, AGIX. I called out Fetch AI and AGIX. I looked it up and it was like like November of 2022, October and November of 2022, and look where we're at now. So it's just crazy.
Yeah. So I think what the biggest thing that changed the AI narrative in the greater society is ChatGPT. When the ChatGPT dropped, it changed the world. I was a software engineer for many years. I studied AI. I worked at an AI company. I had no idea that we were as far as we were in AI. It shocked the world. That's why we saw such great growth in NVIDIA and all the other AI stocks. But this narrative will be expanded into cryptocurrency. So far for AI coins, we called out Fetch AI, Singularity Net, and Ocean Protocol. And Veracity, just to name a few of the top ones. Since calling these out, here's how they're doing. We got Fetch AI right now is up 436% since we called it out January 24th. We called out AGIX at 27 cents. It's currently up 360% since we called it out January 31st. Ocean, which we called out also on January 24th, is up 214%. Veracity is up over 200%.
Yeah, it's crazy, and some people still aren't listening. I get people that months and months ago, they were like, what do I do with crypto? I've got this money. I want to enter the market. I really want to start investing. So I explain dollar cost averaging. We share them our call outs, and they don't buy. Then everything goes up 200, 300, 400%. And then they say, oh, I must have missed it. I'm going to wait until the next big pullback. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll see you in 2026 then. Because everyone they don't get it. It's like, get in there.
It's fear.
You're better off to take your shots and maybe lose or maybe miss a few than sitting on the sidelines for some of the greatest wealth transfer in history, in my lifetime for sure. This is one of the best opportunities to build wealth for the next year, 2 years, maybe 3 years in these emerging technologies because there's so much opportunity for everyone. So let's talk about today. We have 2 new coins that we want to discuss a little further, and I believe they're both in really good positions right now. So I want everyone to take a look at 2 AI coins that we're adding to our portfolios, PAAL and then WorldCoin are 2 that we really like right now moving forward. They've shown great strength alongside of our other callouts, and we feel as if these 2 great coins are good to add to your AI plays. We're looking at them, we're buying them, and I just think they're very, very strong.
Yeah, PAL AI and WorldCoin are actually 2 great plays. And WorldCoin is actually started by Sam Altman, who was the creator of ChatGPT. So that's a great pedigree into that coin.
Yep.
So I hope everybody at least pays attention this time. We expect the AI narrative to get stronger and stronger as this bull market continues. With the AI trend, NVIDIA showed great growth. We saw AMD move a lot, and we expect all of this momentum to extend into cryptocurrency. Most people expect narratives or trends to die off, but what happens is they become quiet. And that's when the real innovation takes place. That's when the real growth takes place. That's when the real money is made. When everything's quiet, people look away. Think about Bitcoin back in 21, 22. When everybody was looking away, that's when people who bought made the most money. It's crazy to me how everybody just sits on the sidelines as all these great opportunities are happening right around them. But that's why you always say, take notes and take action. You have to execute.
Yeah, I mean, there's a million educational processes out there for people to learn how to build wealth. But if you read the books, listen to the podcasts, go on to people's lives, follow our TikToks, none of that matters. We could give you the greatest information. We can give you the entire playbook free of charge. But if you don't act on it, nothing is going to come of it. And that's exactly why for our audience, we want you to be heard and to you to let us know any AI projects that you are bullish on that we haven't brought up yet. We talk about a lot of them, but make sure you leave a comment in the podcast notes below because our team reviews each and every one of them. So Armando, let's get into talking point number 3. Ethereum, meme coins, and what's going on with XRP. It's ripping today. It's finally the sleeping dog is happening. Where are we going from here?
So many people ask about these coins. There's so much opportunity out there. And I always say 2024 is a 1 in 20 year opportunity. And I'm not saying that to be grandiose. I'm not saying that to scare people. I'm saying it because that's what I see it for. And I'm going to make sure I execute this year. Now that we've just covered Bitcoin and AI, I want to talk about Ethereum breaking that $4,000 barrier. What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely for weeks, Armando. I've been talking about the ETH ETF, which is likely to be approved in May. And we see this as a major catalyst, not only for Ethereum, but for the altcoin market as a whole. Because there's one major thing that excites me about this ETF that Bitcoin didn't have.
Oh, what's that?
That there's a really good chance that ETH breaks all-time highs prior to the approval of its ETF. If this happens, imagine what will happen to the price when all the institutions start buying up Ethereum like crazy. I could see it going parabolic.
That's why I don't think it's too late to get into Ethereum. Even if it drops, even with the ETF on the horizon, those are dollar cost averaging opportunities on those pullbacks. This coin is just getting started. I've always said, and I know you agree, that we can see a $12,000 to $15,000 Ethereum in the coming months. I wouldn't even be surprised if we pass 20 in this cycle.
Yeah, we really are so excited to start diving into this sector more for our audience, as we believe there's just so much opportunity. Speaking of opportunity, we want to end this section by talking about one of our most asked about coins, XRP. It's ripping today, so Armando, explain to the people why XRP has lagged the market for so long and whether this is a good sign or a bad sign.
Everybody always freaks out when you talk about XRP. XRP has always moved on its own time. It's always lagged the market. I even hear people saying that XRP is a dead coin. How is it dead when it's number 6 on coin market cap, number 6 in the world of market cap in all of cryptocurrency? Dead coins don't have that high of a market cap. I think one day we're going to wake up, we're going to be shocked when XRP finally starts to move. We believe that XRP is simply building up for a massive move in the future, but you have to be patient.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Armando. Everyone just doesn't understand that with everything XRP has gone through, that is a great sign for the coin. And I truly believe to this day, right now, as we film this episode, XRP is still going to see $6, $7, $8, maybe $10 in this bull cycle. Because once everyone feels the bad news, the court case, the SEC, and everyone has moved on from XRP, I think it's going to just rip because it has so much great technology and adoption throughout. And I just think it is a great coin.
Yeah, I think I'm actually more aggressive on XRP than you. I think we can get to $10, $15, but I don't want to push my luck because you are 100% right on Bitcoin.
All right, let's wrap up this episode by answering the questions asked by you, our amazing audience. So our first question, Armando, do you want to take that one?
Now we have one from Mies. Do you think we'll ever see a 2,000 or less Ethereum? I highly doubt that. The previous high was 1,400 in the last cycle. So as we go into this next cycle, the previous high is going to be around 47, maybe even 4,000. I don't think we'll ever see a $2,000 Ethereum unless there's an entire market crash which encompasses every asset. I think it's going to be I would be shocked if we ever got back down to 2,000.
Yeah, and Ms. or Mizzy, however you say it, questions like this always scare me because I feel like people are always asking for either what's the price going to be or they feel they're too late. And the frame of this question tells me that Mizzy thinks that they felt that they should have bought at 2,000 and they didn't, and now it's too late. So Mizzy, if you're listening, stop worrying about that. Ethereum has a long way to go, and who knows if it's ever going to see $2,000 price points again. But at the end of the day, we still believe there's a lot of upside to it. So dollar cost average and not worry about the past, worry about the future. So the next question comes from Ryan. I'll take this one. As a new retail investor, do you see value in owning any of the Bitcoin ETFs, or do you recommend just holding the actual Bitcoin? So great question, Ryan. And for me, it's always owning the underlying technology and the underlying asset. I don't need anyone to help me manage my accounts or any of my investments. So for me, I'm not interested in owning the ETFs. But if you want help, if you want management and you don't mind paying the fees, then there's nothing wrong with using these ETFs. Or if you're doing it through one of your funds or 401k or SEP IRA or whatever it might be, that's okay. But if I'm choosing between buying the underlying asset and the ETF, I'm always just going to buy the asset.
Eric asks, I'm up $1,200 since I started following you guys. How do I purchase Corium, Naka, and Veracity? Well, Naka and Veracity is pretty simple. It's a Coinbase wallet. Swap Tether and have a little bit of Ethereum in there for gas fees. Corium is a MetaMask wallet, same process.
Okay, our next question, Lisa asks, can we do the same thing as the 100K to invest question from last week, but if you had $1,000 to start with instead? So I'll take this one first and then you can do your thing. If I had $1,000 and I was just starting to invest in cryptocurrency, I would do $200 in Bitcoin, $200 in Ethereum, $100 in XRP, $100 in Veracity, $100 in Render, $100 in Nakamoto Games, Naka, $100 in AGIX, and lastly, I would do $100 in Propi. That's my breakdown. Okay, so I want to thank each and every one of you for listening and following along. You can find us on Instagram at Crypto Trends Podcast and on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. We are so excited for 2024 and beyond and sharing all of our crypto insights with all of you. If you love the podcast, please share with a friend, give it a 5-star review, and we will see you next week. Thank you all so much.